Hello and welcome to KRISCOART Productions. This is the final installment of a three-part tutorial series. I'm glad you made it this far, and we're going to start with color correction. What I'm going to be using mainly for color correction is curves and a little bit of tint. This is again very basic color correction just to match the elements with each other. So it's not really color grading or color correction to match with your footage. This is just color correction to make everything look right in a way. So right now you can see me adding a little bit of tint and darkening the foreground elements. We've talked about this in a little bit in part 1 when we were destroying the taxi. This is simply just to add a little bit of depth and shadows and a different look to each plant. Now there is no rule for this. This is completely up to you. You just pick and choose every single element into your composition, and you just play around with their color, their saturation, their darkness, until it looks right to you, until it looks like it's in a 3D space. Now let's move on to adding the sky. This is probably the fastest and easiest step of this whole tutorial. I just pretty much put a sky image in the background, and then I placed over that another image of a sky, blend them together, and that's pretty much it. Now adding light streaks, this is not a requirement. I did that to make it seem like there were sun rays filtering through the clouds. So what I did is I created a solid. I named it light streaks. This is something always that you should do is keep your project and your project files ordered and name everything. I'm gonna add some fractal noise, bring the brightness down, and bring the contrast up a little bit. If you go under transform, you can play around with the scale height and push that all the way up to some crazy number. Just keep pushing it up. What we're trying to go for here is just pretty much this really stretched out vertically fractal noise. When you have something that looks like that, add a linear wipe, put it to about 20%, and change the wipe angle to 0. And that pretty much just cut the bottom of it. You feather it, and you're done with linear wipe for now. Now add that to screen, and you can kind of see where we're going with this. Maybe turn the brightness down even further, and maybe just increase a little bit the contrast. Now all you got to do is place it in 3D space. Find your positioning, and again keep in mind that this is coming from the sun's direction and from the cloud's direction. All you got to do now is rotate it along the x-axis, and then one last thing that we're going to do to this effect is I'll click the stopwatch on evolution and simply type in time times 100. What this is going to do is simply add a very subtle animation and evolution to your light streaks coming from the clouds. We're going to be adding some additional foreground elements such as branches and leaves right up close to the camera. So I'm just going to drag and drop these images, which I've got from cgtextures.com, by the way. Just going to put them as close to the camera as possible. Again, I'm doing the same exact thing that I've been doing with previous elements. I'm just grabbing the same picture, changing the tint or the brightness and contrast of it, flipping it around to make it look like it's a totally different element. Alright, now let's move on to creating a particle effect. Let's select a new solid. The color doesn't really matter. I'm just picking something that pops up and it's different from all the other solids that we've used in our comp. Let's search for CC Particle World in our Effects tab and drag it and drop into our new solid. Right off the bat, we're going to change the longevity of the particle emitter to 25. Let's isolate this for a second. Put the birth rate to 1. And what we're going to be doing here is expanding the radius of the emitter. So the radius X, radius Y, radius Z. We're going to change the physics to twirl, and we're going to set the velocity to 0.01. The gravity, set it to 0, so they're just kind of levitating in our map painting. Then let's see here, let's go into particle, and we're going to change it to a faded sphere. Also, we're going to have to look for opacity map and draw that completely flat. Okay, so now as you scroll through, you can see what we have so far. Let's turn that birth rate to 0, and that looks slightly better. Now let's turn down the burst size a lot. These are just little, you gotta keep in mind, these are little details, little particles that you're adding. You don't want them to be too obvious or dominate your map painting. Let's change the velocity to 0.05. Again, this is just pretty much trial and error, and until you find what you're looking for. Push some particles forward and backwards, you know, expand the radius of the emitter. Just pretty much play around with these settings. There are no specific numbers that you should follow. It's pretty much what looks best into your comp. Turn its blending mode to add, and that concludes this effect and also this tutorial. Well, congratulations, you have made it through. You have survived this very, very long and at times boring tutorial. I admit it. I really hope this was useful to you and that you've learned something from it. We're actually going to do a little something. Since you have survived this whole tutorial series, comment down below "I am a survivor," and that will let me know that you have seen the whole tutorial all the way to the end, and I will give you a shout out in my next video. Thanks again for watching. Please consider subscribing and liking the video, or even sharing it. I would really appreciate it. Put a lot of work into this. Again, my name is Chris Trini for KRISCOART Productions. I'll see you next time.